In mind, when it's minus nearly 30 out, these guys are wearing lycra. It is not warm. 34-year-old Sydney-sider John Farrow gets the race underway here in Lake Placid. Nobody will be hanging around at the top. 17th here in the race in January, 5:33 start. The track record is a 4.70. John, one of the things about the really hard ice is that the track will be lightning fast, but the start area might not be quite so quick.
Well, it depends what they do up there, the sprints. We're going to find out here pretty quick because Farrell, the first one down, the Rabbit, I think he's got a half-track advantage. It sprints perfectly, but, the mindset the athletes must have to deal with how cold it is, and then you have one of the fastest challenging tracks, maybe not the fastest, but one of the most challenging tracks on the planet. And here you have to overcome the track, you have to overcome the cold conditions, and you have to concentrate. Farrell, he's a mountain biker, and he's the first guy down, 54.53, and that is 1.4 seconds off the track record, which is owned by Matt Antoine of the United States at the U.S. Trials here in March of 2015.
Yeah, well, John Farrow shot the chicane pretty neatly.
This is up top, curve 3 to 4. Look at his eyes. He's trying to get over to the left side of our screen, his right. Now the chicane, what I call the best picture on the whole tour. What you see here is, for skeleton and bobsledding, is pretty unbelievable.
They go straight into the weighing room and then the warm hut next door, and that's entirely understandable. They're doing over 75 miles an hour. It's nearly minus 30 Celsius. Thomas Ducours then, the older of the two Latvian brothers. And again, with the 30-second clock running, they will be going the moment they can. They will keep the warm pants and the warm coat on for the longest possible period. And a 5:02 getaway. That's still 3/10 away from the start record, but Thomas may not be a start record man anymore.
Well, to be 31 hundredths better than John Farrow. John Farrow, a couple years ago, was a good starter. Had that devastating knee injury, and still not back to his top athlete performance, because he should be a lot closer at the start. Or he got into the grooves, and the grooves were frozen, but I don't think there should be that much of a separation of the two.
Well, but I think between the two, John Farrow's definitely not got the power in the sprint he used to when he blew his knee out and then he wrecked his ankle. That's a great run through the chicane, 73.9. That's miles an hour, 74 miles an hour.
Ooh, high there.
Yeah.
You see him hit there through the finish line. That might have cost him a little bit. He got up high there at 19. And then that crossed him on the exit. He came over and he hit the wall right before the finish line. Doesn't sound like much, but you're going uphill. Definitely cost him a few hundreds, if not more.
And then they come steep uphill into the finish area. There's Dennis Ducours, his father.
Well, the finish curve here where it got away from him. Look at him climb here on the outlet. He shouldn't be up that high, Mark. He's up near the roof. Now watch him come down, hit the right side of our picture, and look at the finish line there. He hits twice before the finish line.
Yeah.
That definitely was a mistake.
Definitely was. Well, he and brother Martins both using different kit this weekend. They're doing a lot of testing. Hiro Takahashi of Japan with this beautiful looking helmet. And the Japanese slider. Final day of training yesterday. Not everybody went, but he had 2 top 10 runs, a 6th fastest and a 10th fastest. If he can produce that kind of form here, it'll be a big result for him.
Baseball player. Coach Kazumiro Koshi over standing right there, looking on.
So Koshi-san out running the other evening.
We asked the athletes in their bioforms what their favorite movies are. What do you think his favorite movies are?
I don't know.
Jackie Chan movies.
All right, okay, there you go. I was thinking maybe Godzilla, that's his era when he was growing up. I'm sure that was huge, like it was everywhere else. 2900s behind Thomas Ducours.
Good slide, good technical slide. He had some better results a couple years ago. Last year was pretty soft.
Yeah, they haven't had a great last couple of seasons. 3 or 4 years ago, the Japanese program really started to be motoring, and now they're just down to just the one men and the one women's slider, and that kind of takes a bit out of it.
Speed, though, he's 2 kilometers down, about 1.5 miles down to Thomas Ducard, but so will a lot of people. Look at the bullet for him, see if he gets through here clean. Yes!
That's good, that helps. Little skid.
He's even behind John Farrell. Wow. See, Farrell beat him by a lot. Boy, Takahashi just had no speed. Farrell had the best speed.
Yeah.
But he was so far behind at the start, he couldn't get to Ducard's. But Takahashi third with a decent start time. That could be runners.
Yes.
Has to be. Slide across the ice, hit, you know, just take your medicine, hit once, and come on into four. He's still trying to position himself.
The problem when the ice is so hard, Steve Holcomb was saying yesterday, he said it's hard to say to people just how slippery it is, because everybody understands that ice is slippery, but he said in these temperatures, even with thin, cold weather runners, you get no grip. And the Mirambel from Spain was the first man off in the season last year. Brand new running spikes. Adidas have withdrawn from the contract to supply spikes, and his sportswear provider, Munich, have developed this new shoe.
Adidas is in for one more year. I think it's the last year they provided. Right through the Olympic year, excuse me. And they don't really going to be making a lot more of them.
Everybody looking to the future. He's got a different set of spikes on that he had in Whistler 2 weeks ago.
Personal best last week in Whistler.
Yeah. Third place at the moment off a 5:20 start.
Exit. Slingshot down to the bottom, 11, 12, 13. A three-quarter combination that you can see what happens to you there in the middle part of that lap with that one curve is a challenge. Boy, his head was really up. The speed's decent, though.
74.2, fastest speed we've seen
so far.
Let's see how close he
the uphill section, he's clean. Head down, second best time.
There we go. So he's got two sliders behind him, and these guys who are outside the top 10, their primary concern is to make the second heat and to try and do as well in that as they can as well. Because we're going to be sending 7 of our sliders home after the first run. Field of 27 will be cut to 20. Now, yeah, he looks happy with that. Sounds happy with that.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to have a much improved season.
Well, he's one of these guys that's training with Martin Rettel. Different look to the helmet, slipping on the ice. Yes. That's how cold it is.
Okay, hit the wall and then come straight. You know, take your medicine, and that's a nice setup into 4. White face curve. Now down here, that's how high he gets up here. Yeah. What do you see what the bobsleds do there? And then into the chicane. You know, look at his head come up. Very surprised because he's great speed.
Yeah.
Look at some tape. It looks like some tape came off.
And you see the sled skidding away. It's yawing all over the place.
What a great shot.
Next up is our new Russian this season. Igor Veselov made his first ever World Cup start in Whistler 2 weeks ago. This, then his second.
Interesting bio-material from him is you ask him what's your favorite vacation place? He put down next to my family.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think a lot of athletes are like that. They spend a lot of time on the road. They're gone from October until April, and everybody likes to be back home.
A little late there, and he's still late there, you saw him.
Looks like he's got decent speed, though. Half a second back. This is the 4th fastest run at the moment.
Might be his first time on this track. Wow!
That's big height.
8,400's back.
And you can guarantee that the ice is a lot quicker and feels a lot different to yesterday. Yesterday was cold, but it was not as cold as today.
Oh, he's late there. Watch how high he gets here. He's going to hit the wall. Bang! Oh, got into that curve late, and you know, you got no place to go. It's centrifugal force. It's going to take you up on the curve, and then you come off and you hit that wall, and hit the wall before the finish, going uphill. That's worthy of a lot of time loss there, and you know, he has the worst time and the worst speed down the track. But again, probably the most inexperienced guy in the field coming down this Lake Placid track, and every picture tells a story. What do you think here? Watch this. Not the way you want to be looking at life sideways like that, and wow.
And you know what, he was probably less than a 10th late with that steer, and the result at the end is that much drama.
Yeah, you know, the runners and the setup and the grip on the ice, there's not a lot of grip on this hard ice.
Thomas Ducour's our race leader. First 5 athletes of 27 are down the track safely. Former race winner on this track, Eric Bonotas holds the sled for his athlete Dom Parsons from Great Britain. Start draw number 6. He finished in 7th place in January's race here. I keep saying last year, but it was only last season. 5:05 getaway, that puts him right in the frame.
Yeah, second best start. He's a PhD student, you know, 400-meter sprinter. Mark, he lists his favorite athlete as you. What do you want to say about that?
Well, you want to take a look at some of the stuff that Ed Smith put in his athlete bios. If Ed's watching, hey, first, come back and see us sometime. Dom Parsons, 3,600s back. This is not what the Bromley slider wants. 113 kilometers an hour, 70.4 miles an hour. 73.8, that's decent speed, gets a good run. Now he needs a really good run through the heart, through 17, little left at 18.
What's going to happen here in the uphill section? He slides through okay, third best time. 48. Look at Anders Marabel.
Yeah. Not many times that you're going to see.
He beat Parsons by 100. How many times has he beat Parsons?
Not too many. Both of them on Bromley sleds.
Wow.
So Jack Thomas, the other male slider for Great Britain here, is on one of the British-built Black Rods, the Black Rocks. This is a British-built Bromley sled.
Well, we're going to start to see how good times have been posted. Parsons didn't have the great speed. You know, he was almost a half a kilometer down.
Looks a little skiddy again.
Yeah.
But they are suffering. Remember, training last year, it was -27. Dom was saying it, you were numb at the bottom, you could barely move. Don't forget that they're taking less than a minute to get down this ice. Well, next up is our Russian rocket, Alexander Tretyakov. Never a winner on this track. His best results have been bronze medals. He took a bronze medal in the 2012-13 season and in the Worlds in 2009.
Should be about a 488 or so, 490.
This is clearly not a track that he fancies much. That's very quick.
Still 1,300s off the track record set by Sun Bin Young from Korea last year at this event.
It was much warmer on race day in January. See how much? Yeah, because we've got the little rubber metal bumpers around the shoulder area have now cut all the way through the ice and they're onto the concrete.
That's something the track officials will look at. Sparks.
Yeah. I thought I saw some from Dom Parsons, and now we've definitely got him from Tretyakov. Again, a big high exit.
He's won on this track before, right?
No. Only podium finishes have been bronze medals. So
this looks like a good, at least the first place run here.
Yeah.
Oh, but not a good line here. It's going to have to hit. Oh, he does twice.
And you know what? That looks very familiar. He has the lead over Thomas Ducours.
Half a second. That's a lot of time, but I think that'll put him in the mix. But boy, that mistake down there in the finish curve.
Double Olympic champion Alexander Zubkov, who's now the head of the Russian Sliding Federation, is here. Turned up yesterday. So pressure on these guys to perform.
Any sparks here?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, baby. Heat on ice.
Yeah.
15 below zero up there, probably.
Oh, and the rest. Yeah, well, 15 in Fahrenheit, nearly 30 in centigrade, so whichever way you slice it, it ain't warm. This is the first of our 3 German athletes. Alexander Gassner returning to World Cup form after a couple of seasons away.
Winterberg athlete. There's how the Winterberg sliders wear that helmet. Yeah. 27 years old. And he's happy to be back, Mark.
Yeah.
Veltons. He's got a little Velton sticker on there. We know what Veltons is.
Well, we know that Lizzie Yarnold had a year away from the ice, but he hasn't. He's been sliding. He just didn't make the German A squad in the last couple of seasons. Now he is back.
5:04, decent start in the mix. I can't really. Tretyakov. Let's watch here now on the exit here. Do we get sparks? No, he's beyond that.
Yeah, a little less of a hit as well.
He hit down farther too, which
3/10 back from Tretyakov already, though.
Yeah, but that's related to the start. So if he keeps it around 30, he'll be good on the bottom. Yeah, 39 stops the bleeding, hopefully, and now into the labyrinth.
Shoulders are up a long way. He's using a lot of body movement to steer. awful lot of body movement to steer.
Heads up there a little bit, 119.9, that's pretty good speed. That's 74.9 speed.
Yeah.
That's some of the best speed we've seen. And let's see if he gets out of here clean. Not bad.
Speed to
third,
Tretyakov.
5600s off the pace, 1100s behind Ducars. Second best speed. Not bad. Third best start time, third best down time. Not bad.
All right, well, that will put him in the race. There's no question about that. And that might be enough to come into contention for some medals here.
Head. You know, people just put their head down like that right there. You know, that's what you want to do in that high-speed, 75-mile-an-hour part of the track.
There's Alexander Gassner looking happy with that. Alexander Tretyakov leads from Thomas Ducours and Alexander Gassner. And next up is Barrett Martineau from Canada. He says, despite the fact that this is so close to Canada, we're about an hour from, maybe 2 hours from Montreal, an hour from the border, he said, you name a German track, I've got more runs on it than I've ever had in Lake Placid.
Start, 5:07. Not bad in the middle of the field compared to Tretyakov. Let's see if he gets out of here without sparks. Yep, you can see that run. And that's just the ice wall that's, you know, that, as you said, that little metal part of the sled is taking all that ice away. Ice is a little brittle, obviously.
Yeah. The athletes always say that this track has got really a bumpy running surface, and you can see that quite clearly, how much the head chatters. And when they come towards you in the chicane, look at the way that the sled is always bouncing up and down on the ice. Take a look here, look at that.
118.5 kilometers an hour, which is 73.6 miles per hour. Can he get through here clean? In the finish, watch the exit. Does he hit? No, sneaks through, but 6 sled down the track. 7 or the 9th sled down, he's in 6th. 5th best start. Boy, 1 second plus down.
This is going to be a tough field to make the cut. Barrett Martineau.
I think that's going to be right on the bubble.
Yeah. Big height.
Oh. And now look at the setup down here in the chicane. Beautiful shots. Look at him, boy. He's struggling just to keep that sled on a straight line. Wasn't smooth.
Well, he's got 3 guys behind him, which all helps. Next up, Matt Antoine of the USA, 5th position in the January race here last season. 3rd in the World Cup standings. He took the bronze medal in Whistler 2 weeks ago. And in the last decade, he is the only American to claim any skeleton medal on this track. Since the 2007-8 season, where Eric Benotas and Zach Lund were both on the podium. Previous year, 2006-7, a decade ago, the podium, Zach Lund, Caleb Smith, Eric Benotas. All 3 are here coaching.
Well, that's a pretty surprising stat you just threw out there, that the Americans haven't done well on the track. This guy's got more trips on the track than anybody in the field.
New Zealand have as many medals on this track in men's skeleton as the USA does in the last decade.
I would have done a lot of money against that one sport.
I know. 3rd place at the moment. So this is a good-looking run from Matt Antoine.
2800s. If there's anybody who can find speed down here in chicane, it'd be this 6'3" athlete from Wisconsin. Favorite athlete for him is Brett Favre, or excuse me, Aaron Rodgers.
Gaps coming down.
Look at the
74.9. That's as quick as Tretyakov, as quick as anybody on the track. How close will he get to the leader? He's going to be in 2nd place, 1800s behind. We have a race on our hands.
Same exact speed as Tretyakov, and he was 20 down at the start. So there's some home track advantage right there.
Well, and also, you know, he's really getting his start back. It's not where it was 2 seasons ago, but he's getting back. There is Zach Lund, winner on this track 11 seasons ago.
Will be the next sled and track.
Sorry, Zach.
So that's probably, he hit the farthest down that straightaway.
And the least contact as well.
Yeah, and he had very, very clean line into Whiteface.
Yellow vest of our World Cup leader is ready to go. Alexander Tretyakov is our race leader from Matt Antoine and Thomas Ducours. Martins Ducours has won the last 5 straight races on this track, but Sun Bin Young has never won here in Lake Placid. He won the season opener.
So in
Whistler.
Yep.
483.
Same time as Tretyakov.
Yeah.
This young 22-year-old, he has arrived.
Now they've been working on him keeping his head down. They said to him that they described his sliding style as meerkatting. He's got his head right up, looking around all the time. They're trying to get his head down because that gets the shoulders
Good
down.
form, lost 100 back.
This is very close.
His favorite musician is Adele. He's going to have Adele type.
He's got a new album coming out in the new year, so he'll be a happy bunny. 400s in front of Tretyakov, 75.5. That's half a mile an hour faster.
This is going to be the leader unless he crushes the wall. Remember, Tretyakov crushed the wall here.
Good exit.
Good, he slid through
Long
there,
skid,
300s.
there we go. It's tight, but he has the lead. There's Richard Bromley on the right.
On the left.
On the left. Yeah, on our left, on his right. Yeah, sorry. On the left.
Well, he just does what he's been doing. Battled up there in Whistler last week, 2 weeks ago.
Richard Bromley says the single greatest thing that this guy has to offer is that you tell him something and he'll do it without fail every single time.
Look at this line. Look how quiet he is on the sled here. You know, this is up where the speeds are slow. And now look at his head down. Maybe the head down, and he's a little adrift here.
He's no Anya Huber with his head tucked, is he?
You know, and his speed, 75.5. No one's had speed like that. He's
Look at him. He's got rabbit in the headlight eyes. That was quick. Next up, Axel Jung, just out of the medals in January. He was 4th place, only a few hundreds away from the bronze of Thomas Ducours. Let's see what the German can do here. Strong hair game from Axel Jung. This is a growing concern now among the skeleton field with John Daly's return.
6th up there. Whistler, opening event.
Yeah.
Start. You know, not bad. 3rd best start.
Sub 5 is always good here.
Yeah. You know, he's experienced. You know, he's driving one of those FBS Berlin sleds. Hard hit there. His favorite athletes, Martins Ducours and Andre Lange.
There you
He's the
go.
only person I've seen put down that.
Two of the most dominant winter sport sliding athletes in history.
Yeah. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. The challenge out here to get the top 3 speed. Not that good, new boy. That's a tough line. Half second back. That's not bad. That's good speed, though. He's going to need better, though. Better line to finish.
Really good line through the chicane, but Benham's Bend may have
Ooh, late there. How's he going to get hit here?
not too bad.
6th, just like he was up in Whistler. 7/10. Boy, there's a big disparity of time. This is a sport of hundreds of seconds. We've got some disparities here, boy.
1st to 2nd is 300s. 3rd is 2/10 away. 4th is half a second back.
I'll guarantee he wasn't 700s a heat down in Innsbruck last year at the World Championship.
He wasn't in
or in
Whistler.
Winterberg on his home track. Or in Königssee in his home track, excuse me. Yes, you can see that big gouge in the ice there, but he's hit twice. He hit twice before he got to Whiteface. Look at his legs here.
Big skids there.
Yeah, this is not the fastest line through the exit of the chicane or the labyrinths. Axel. Yeah, we understand.
Really fell off the cliffside there, didn't he? So, 6th place for Axel Jung. Now Nikita Tregibov. Again, this is one of the young men who may be getting down towards start record potential, but I think in these conditions, it's just too brittle to get the grip they need at the start, these real start monsters. So if he's down just about 480, he slips. Look how cracked that start platform is. He had a little slip. He won't be in the 480s. 495. He could have been right down there with Alexander Tretyakov, apart from that little slip. And that's the problem. The ice is so hard. These little needle spikes just don't get the purchase they need. So Nikita Tregibov, 3rd fastest start, still lying in 3rd place, but a quarter of a second back already.
Well, he doesn't have as much experience on this track.
This is true enough. racing here in January. This is third race weekend here. A little high on the exit. And through the chicane. Axel Jung got a really good run through the chicane, so does Tregibov. He was just a little left if you kind of want to take that apart into the heart, but working very hard to control it.
Head was way up there.
Yeah.
Didn't have very good speed. I think we just saw some inexperience on that track.
Yeah, no question.
But he's, with he's got great starts. He's the heir to the throne that Mr. Trechikov has had for the last 6 years in the sport.
Good little battle. He's got Alexander Gassner in front of him, 800s in front. Axel Jung is 300s behind him.
We talk about the ice being so brittle on the track and it really affected the start and the shoes. Now watch the ice here. Oh, look at him slip there. Yeah. He's a much better starter than that. That's why we're seeing him with that what do you have? 95. And he's usually low 90s or almost as good as the other guys.
He should have been right with Trechikov.
That start,
in the low 80s.
That's what the cold weather does. Sets up the ice differently than they're used to sprinting on.
Christopher Grother from Germany. And our second returning athlete, sort of intermittent in and out of the German team in the last couple of seasons, being shouted off the top by Dirk Matchens. 5:06 getaway. Again, Grother not the fastest of starters. Certainly when he gets back to European tracks, he will be in more familiar territory. Takes a little bit of a hit.
A lot of experience on this fine track.
Let's see how he picks up speed. Half a mile an hour away in start speed from Trechikov. That's only to be expected. 4/10 back, so this will put him in top 6 at the moment. Controls the exit nicely, dropping down through the labyrinth.
That's a nice line there. Oh, but he just got caught on that. That's not a straightaway there. That's a chicane, and he got caught in that second part of that S. Good exits there. This looks to be clean here. This was a good run.
Fourth place.
Best. Yeah, that was a 74.7. Puts him in the top 4 of the speeds. Ninth best start. Everybody's bundled up.
Yep. No question about that. It is arctically cold. 4,500s behind, but he's 4th place ahead of Thomas Ducours, Alexander Gassner, Nikita Tregibov, Axel Jung, so he's the best of the 3 German sliders. And that, of course, is your first target. Beat your teammates. Just clips the wall on the right shoulder. In fact, he didn't clip the wall. He just got eased away there. So he got away without the hit. And here in the final corners, 17 and 19, the 2 big right-handers. You've got to keep the line precise or you give away so much time. So there's plenty of speed to be had on this track. What can last year's winner do? Last season's winner won this race in January. Won it the previous year, the previous year, the previous year, and the World Championships in 2012, the year before that.
He had no problems getting out of the blocks like the Russian did. And 487. Well,
testing sleds here yesterday, another different setup, a different set of runners.
Let's see his exit. That's how clean he is. One hit, straight. Yes.
Dennis Ducours has 2 more different sleds for Martins and Thomas to try out before Christmas when they get home. They are now 6 sleds into development this year.
Testing factory here?
Yeah.
Boys, 1000s to 1600s. This is not a Martins Ducours. Usually he's got the lead by Shady, and he doesn't have it, and he might be falling away more. Yeah, he's falling away more. Obviously, this is a testing grounds for him.
Again, look at the way he steered the chicane. Superb. I mean, the lines are as good as you'd expect.
Oh. Whoa, watch out here. The out. He made it. Wow. What are we watching here? We're watching testing of equipment.
Yeah.
This is the best slider in the history of the sport. And we just watched in a horrific ride on the bottom part of the Lake Placid track, and that's the sled. That's not him having a bad day.
Well, that is runner choice or the rock or something.
It looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. You look at the sled there, you can see that the runners aren't flat on the ice. It's like a rocking chair.
Okay, no, this looked great. This exit here, a little late. Now, this is sort of big skid.
Now,
how many times have we seen people hit the roofs? Yeah, and usually an athlete athlete down in the 15th or 20th position. Not the best slider ever in the history of the sport. Those are some unbelievable pictures. Wow. And then he writes himself back up and ice burns. The temperatures right now, imagine what he's doing.
Yep. Well, there's his father, Dennis.
Mothers, don't let your sons grow up to be sliders.
Make them be cowboys or something.
Yeah.
10th in January, Dave Christcheshin of Canada. Like Barrett Martineau, still not a lot of experience on this track.
Wow.
5:05, that's not a bad getaway either from the big man.
The
Grizz. We're talking about he's got Grizz written across the back of his helmet. When he played hockey, he said my name went from the tip of one shoulder to the tip of the other.
Rugby player too.
Yeah. Rugby player, hockey player.
One of the biggest guys in the field. Definitely the thickest guys in the field.
9th fastest start, but this is drifting away. He's down to 11th place on split times.
Which is pretty much what he did up in Whistler last week. Pretty good there through the chicane. No speed though, like his teammate. Barrett Martineau doesn't really have the great speed. In fact, they have very similar speeds. 12th.
Yeah, 12th and 13th for the two Canadians.
Yeah, and it's very similar start times. Although Grizz had a half a kilometer better speed down there at the exit of chicane, but can only manufacture a 12th. Listen how crunchy the ice is.
Well, you can tell how cold it is because the snow squeaks.
Happy birthday, Grandpa. 101. We're looking good, bud.
Grandpa
He didn't tell me that. Yeah, remember when we were here?
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
The year before, where were we? Winterberg. It was his grandfather's centenary. Wow. That's a nice piece of art on Nathan Crumpton's sled. This is his first international race here, Nathan Crumpton. He has never raced at any level other than just team training. His least favorite track in the world, he says. It's got a very awkward rhythm, and yeah, it's bumpy.
Good starter, should get in the 90s. Had a pretty good World Championship debut last year.
Yeah.
A Princeton athlete who was one of the best triple jumpers that ever came out of Princeton. And you know, I love it when he put down his favorite athlete is Jesse Owens. You know, those track and field people.
He's well educated. He knows his history, doesn't he?
Very well. Plenty of time.
So far, 5th fastest at the start, 7th place for Nathan Crumpton. Top 10 rounded out by Ander Mirambel of Spain at the moment.
Spent some time with him and his mother last year in Innsbruck. World Championships award ceremony. Pretty focused athlete, pretty driven. Well, that's what those track and field athletes are. That's why they cross over to this sport very well.
10th place run. Good run through the heart. Should keep him there. No, slips to 12th.
Right in front of the two Canadian sleds, right behind Don Parsons. Speed, did not have very good speed.
Well, this is his debut then on this track in any race.
Well, he was here for U.S. trials November.
Hasn't raced North America's Cup or ICC, the second tier of sliding. First World Cup race here. He didn't slide here in January then.
Look at the head down, peeks up a little bit. What's that on his helmet?
That's a picture of himself. But that's a picture of Nathan, but in Joker, guys. Yeah.
He's a photographer, artist, model.
Yeah.
He's got quite a diverse background. Got a degree from Princeton, too.
Yeah. They give those out like confetti almost, don't they, nowadays? Rhys Thornberry for New Zealand. Last New Zealander to medal on this track in the World Championships 2012. Ben Sanford is now back home in New Zealand.
Running for office.
Running for office
luck,
as
Ben.
a member of Parliament.
Hope you're listening, Ben. We're all for you.
He'll make a great representative. 5:12 getaway from Rhys Thornberry. Works for the Royal Air Force. He's an armaments technician at RAF Price Norton in Oxfordshire, not too far from where I live.
We met his mother last week.
Yeah, she'd come over from Brunei, she lives, yeah. So that was a 60-degree temperature drop.
Cold in Whistler, it's snowy.
Yeah, it's hot in Brunei though. Yeah, 40 degrees in Brunei.
Pretty good last week.
Yeah. This is his second full-time season of sliding, and that really helps. And he's one of these guys that's working with Martin Rettel, the kind of small team's umbrella, if you like. And having that little coaching backup, that extra bit of knowledge coming in is really helping. 10th place run.
That's going to put him.
That's really, there you go.
That's a personal best, I think, for Reese to be there.
And he has just eased out another Rettel slider and a Mirambel for 10th place. So Reese Thornbury, 10th at the moment. And look, he knew it was a good run. He felt it.
Hey, and he beat Don Parsons. How many times has he beat Don Parsons?
So that'll be the first.
There's some personal bests out here today. Andre Mirabel's at 11th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those two guys.
Now we're talking about people here that...
And it's these small nations. You know, Reese is a team of one. Next up, Kevin Boyer. Talk to him a little bit about this helmet design. Mum and Dad, obviously his prime sponsors through his career. And this is a Northwest native Canadian art form that he's got on the helmet, representing a beaver.
Yeah, that looks like the stuff you see up in Whistler.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful helmet, beautiful helmet.
Beautiful.
Very, very quick starts in training. 487s.
Should be mid-80s then.
Yeah, could be
almost
right
overshot
down.
that.
502, okay.
What happened there? It looks like he overshot that a little bit.
The temperatures were maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's other 80s. He had, you know, that's perplexing. 17th last week in Whistler in his World Cup debut, and he just hit twice before whiteface curve.
7th fastest start. He's 11th at the moment, just behind Reese Thornbury of New Zealand. Little wild ride for the Edmonton slider.
Shady 2, they call it Shady 2 because Shady 1's on the other track, the old track for the 32 and 80 games. So they crossed over with some of the names onto this track.
Good run through the chicane, but down on speed, just 70 miles an hour, not 75.
He's going to have a hard time making the cut.
At 19th at the moment, this is the slowest run for Kevin Boyer.
2 seconds plus down. You know, I bet he's been on the track before, probably in the North America Cup competitions.
Well, the Canadians were saying despite its proximity, very few of them, until they get into World Cup, really ever come to...
they stay out there in the west, Calgary, Park City, and Whistler.
Yeah.
It's a few kilometers away. Good athlete, but we didn't see it at the start there. Very surprised he only had a 5:02 start. Look at the foot coming up here, almost hitting the lip, and that's...
Real scorpion.
Scorpion, oh man, you know, those pictures. When you see the bobsleds come through there a little bit.
There we go, yeah.
Yeah, we understand.
Carl Tress next up for the USA. That big gouge in the front of his beautiful helmet art. He was saying that one of the top helmet painters from NASCAR was doing some helmets. So that's a stunning looking thing. He said the very first run chipped his chin and this big lump of it fell out. He said he almost cried.
Well, Kyle, very different personality in the field. His favorite music is Bach. He's the only guy who put down classical music, and then his favorite movie is M&S.
Yeah, there we go.
See how quiet he is here on this exit, straight. He's probably been down the track as much as anybody, maybe only his teammate Matt Antoine.
Pretty unflustered at the moment. The start, 5:12, only 15th at the start, so he needs to have a neat and tidy run. This is a neat and tidy run. He hasn't got enormous speed, but he's creeping up towards the top 10.
It's back, gonna need to be clean here. Now this is, oh boy, the speed is not there. And now he's gonna be fighting for, 15th position. Don't know, he's gonna have to hustle here, got a chance. 17th, boy, let's see what he's got coming up here.
It's in the danger zone.
Danger zone, yeah. We've got a couple guys coming up here that could challenge him for the top 20 spot. I kind of believe...
I don't think all 7 remaining athletes are going to beat him, so he should make the second heat.
Yeah,
this won't be a
he'll
race
be right in the bubble, though. He'll be 19th or 20th probably when we're all said and done here.
Yeah. This won't be a race he looks back on with a lot of affection, I don't think. See how his shoulders are up off the sled.
Very confident.
Way off the sled.
Yeah, really up high.
Really struggling for control. And it's difficult when the temperature changes so much to guess the runners you need. Sombinyon of Korea leads, 20 sleds down. The field is full now for Lee Han-sin, his teammate. He's going to have to bump somebody else out. This is real dog-eat-dog territory now. If you're starting 15th or lower, or 16th or lower these days, then it's you or someone else.
Well, one Korean's in the lead who has the fastest start time, and this Korean here doesn't have the same start, and that's going to really put a lot of emphasis on his ability to have perfect lines down the track.
Kevin Boyer is the man who will be dropped out of the field first. And 15th at the start, Lee Han-sin now up to 13th on the split times. And he's a good run down through the Devil's Highway.
11th down, so he's got some good lines, good equipment here.
Look at the way the head vibrates through shady, it's unbelievable.
G-forces, you know.
Yeah.
Again, they're going 80 miles an hour with your chin inches off the ice.
Good chicane, big skid though as he crested the
118
rise.
is excellent speed for this.
Top 12, might drop out to about 14th place, will make the second.
He'll make the second heat for sure.
13th at the line, there you go.
15th best start, 13th best downtime, and then look at the Kristen Bromley.
Yeah.
Celebrates. Nice helmet.
Yeah. That's a tiger on it.
Very happy.
Yeah, good looking run from him, 13th position.
And he's pointing to his helmet, and here's the slingshot into the bottom part of the track, shady too, and then you get down to this pivotal part of the track. Look at him look up high here.
The skid here though sends him into the wall and
a lot.
cost him a position maybe.
Yeah.
And Goma Lloyd there thinking of, who passed away in the Christmas break, the end of last year. Here is the helmet of Joe Cicchini.
He's got a start bib on this week.
He has got a start bib on this week. That'll be a long time before he makes that mistake again. In the week between Whistler and here, what was he doing? Was he here training? No, he was doing day shift and night shift in his regular job as a cop.
Calgary.
Yeah.
So Joe got a little making up to do.
He does.
Says he's a lot healthier than he was last year. That start time shows it. 9th best start. Let's see how hard he hits out of this curve 3. One hit straight. Not bad.
Not a big fan of this movement to put 5 of the guys outside the top 10 at the start of the field. He said it kind of gives them a bit of a track advantage over the guys who they normally would be battling with, who are 15 sleds later. I think today that might not be quite so much of a factor.
He's holding on, but he just lost a lot there. It's going to reflect. He went from 11th to 15th, from the exit of Shady down into the labyrinths, and now he's fighting with the speed. Only got 72 mile an hour speed. He's going to be right on the bubble here. Should be 17 or 18. 17, there it is.
All right, well, right behind.
I gotta believe he's in the mix.
Yeah.
And the guy right now is Takahashi, the Japanese slider, is on the bubble. Kyle Tress and John Farrell are 18th, 19th. But I think Joe's going to make the field in the second run.
Yep.
That's what happens when you put your jersey on. Look at these pictures of the exit of the labyrinths.
Yeah, that really undid him. That's what cost him 3 or 4 places.
He was 11th, and then he was 15th.
Kevin Boyer is out, and Igor Veselov gets bumped by Joe Cicchini. Next up for Austria, Alexander Auer, one of the 2 sliding brothers. His brother Florian is competing in Europe at the moment. The Europa Cup is in Altenburg in Germany this weekend. And his father, Alexander Auer, was one of the standout
world champion 95. Yeah. And it was great last year. Both his sons were sliding in the world championships in Innsbruck on the Eagles track, and his father was their 20-year anniversary to the day when they competed. It was a pretty special story. Of sort of exemplifies the fraternity and family that this sport is.
And behind him, Mickey Grunberger, another Austrian skeleton slider from early days, as was Andy Schmidt, who is the British bobsled coach.
Listen, the Austrians dominated this sport in the late 80s, early 90s.
22nd at the start, a 5.21 getaway. So he starts off out of the field. He's got to drive his way into contention.
Small size.
Yeah, but look at the quads on it. He's a powerful athlete. Hiro Takahashi is the man in 20th on the bubble. Alexander Auer still 22nd.
Ooh, that's not going to help real high, real late now. He's going to be perfect in the chicane. He's still 22nd, and he's got issues.
Finished 20th in January here in a field of 25 athletes.
And this is not going to do it.
No.
So there's...
So Hiro Takahashi holds
lives
on.
another day. He's got 4 more decent sliders to come up.
Alexander Auer already knows. He can feel that it wasn't what he produced in training.
This might be the first time we've seen him over here, though, right? We only saw
No, he raced here in January,
yeah.
but he did make the cut. This time, I'm afraid, not so.
Not happy. Oh, look at the spray coming off there. I mean, he does not have any control coming down here in the chicane.
But he had his head buried, and that's what they're trying to teach Sun Bin Young.
He's doing okay, that Korean. He's
doing
leading.
okay, but they don't want him to be okay. They want him to be Olympic gold medalist.
Well, I put some money on him right now.
Next up, Marco Rohrer, the first of our 2 Swiss athletes. Yeah, Swiss athletes. Easy for me to say.
It's a little cold here in the box, so I forgive you for that.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we've done commentary with gloves on.
So he's a PhD student in climate science at the University of Bern in Switzerland.
Yeah, he's our future, boys and girls.
Well, if he's climate science, what's he evaluating about the weather here?
It's chillier.
This is global warming?
And I think the polar vortex is a regular phenomenon. When you're this far north, it gets cold. Rohrer 14th at the start, 16th position, lots of leg action as he gets to Shady, really trying to control the sled. He hasn't got the grip that he thought he was going to find. 16th place still on the split times. Oh, and it's all gone away, horribly away. 23rd fastest.
Not going to make the cut.
And all of the noise you can hear, the scraping, the scratching, that's the toads trying to control the sled. They have too much rock on it, not enough control, or maybe not enough rock. And it's just gliding over the surface of the ice instead of digging in a little. Look at the sled, look underneath, see the runners? You can see they're not flat, they're a little rocking chair there, and the smaller the contact patch, the more aggressive the rock, the better it digs into the ice. Maybe
look how low his head is. He tried to keep it down there. But you know, the rock, there's a rocket expression in hydroplane racing, part of the boat that comes in contact with the water. Figure skates are not flat. Hockey skates are not flat. So a little bit of technology and where you put that rock too, how forward you put it.
Yeah, got to try and guess the weather conditions because you don't know until you slide. For Great Britain, Jack Thomas. Jack, where's the cake? You promised. Let's see what he can produce. 25th in the field.
Good start here, good
race here. He has never raced anything here. He's done a 4-day training camp about 4 years ago.
Start, decent, 4th best start. By trade, he's a plumber. Not too many plumbers in the field.
Yeah, the rest of them are really busy around Gordon Reed's house sorting out his pipes.
Yeah. Ooh, double hit there. That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
4th fastest start. He's 6th on the splits. Teammate Don Parsons lies 12th.
On the bubble.
16th. This is going to be tough for Jack Thomas. Head right up there as he tries to get his line right.
He's going to have just a clean chicane to have any chance. He's not going to have any chance now.
24th place.
Out of it. So this is a debut for him on this track in competition. The 4th best start.
This is nothing like what he was producing yesterday on the final day of training.
He was flying.
Yeah, the ice has really changed.
But, you know, he made the mistake up in the exit of 3-4 with that double hit. He hit on the exit of 3, and then he crossed over and hit before the take on to 4, and that just forces him up into 4. It's like having a parachute up there. You know, no chance to accelerate at the part of the track where you want to accelerate. Down here in the bottom, here's the mistake. Watch him hit the right-hand wall on our right, and watch him hit the take on to the left. Bang, and that throws him down in the middle of the next curve. More steering, and Eric Bernotis, the former U.S. slider who's won on this track before, can only look on to his pupil and say, I'm not going to give you any kind of a good grade on that one.
10 seasons ago, Eric was a race winner on this track in World Cup. Previous season, he'd been bronze medalist in a US clean sweep. Matthias Guggenberger of Austria had a reasonable week in training, but maybe not the week that he wants. 26th in the World Cup rankings after a horror story in Whistler. A season you hope that can only go up from there.
He had last weekend, there's nobody more disappointed in North America than he was.
Yeah.
Start, you know, not bad, but you know, a couple years ago, he was one of the better starters in the field, and then he hurt his back.
Yeah, those 2 years of back injuries really did
devastate him because he had great starts. I mean, not that the start he's got is bad. So he's gone from 8th to 10th. So exit is Shady. Coming up, right? What's the line in Shady? Does he hit Lake Placid?
good
Perfect.
Form, good control. This is a nice, quiet-looking run. That's
Still losing though.
See, maybe he's just got a little too much.
Watch out here.
Control.
He can lose some more. He's down to 16th. He's going to need to be perfect here. The speed's not that good. So this is going to be close between him and Takahashi. Who makes it? He should be in the field. That's a nice line. And oh, that little tap. And he finishes 21st. 600ths behind Takahashi.
Mickey Guggenberger can't believe it.
8th best start, 21st. Matthias, I'm not saying he lost it in the last curve, but it didn't help him. A couple hundredths were there.
So creeping away all the way down the track.
Here, this didn't help. A skid in the chicane. Look at his head's way up, toes out. There's a lot of steering there, so I'll say that's that spot right there could have been cleaner.
A lot of work with the toes, and that's all slowing you down. Matthias Guggenberger, 21st. Our last slider in the field is Ronald Odderset from Switzerland. Again, Hiro Takahashi in 20th place, potentially the man in danger here.
This is a 27-year-old mechanical engineer. Another guy too smart to be sliding.
Yeah, both the Swiss guys are very cerebral.
Climate scientist and a mechanical engineer, the Swiss.
Very well educated. Nice quiet top part of the track, that's going to help. His start is 11th fastest.
Happened there.
Our camera guys are starting to lose.
Yeah,
Listen,
the camera people out here are the heroes of the day for what they're going through.
Yeah, them and the track workers will be out from dark to dark with the temperature never getting into anything even remotely friendly. This is all coming very badly unstitched for Ronald Odderset.
Yeah, he's way in the back. So the Swiss will not have a slider in the field.
Or the Austrians.
Or the Austrians. Wow.
But the Spanish do, the Kiwis do, the Germans, the Russians. Yeah. So unfortunately, 27th at the end of the run for Ronald Odderset.
The best thing about this slide is all our camera people get a few minutes in a warm car, we hope, because it's trying conditions for anybody trying to do camera work.
Listen, I tell you what, there is never a day when I wish I was a cameraman, and today is way up there on that list of days.
I'd like to be a slider.
This place is tough to tame at the best of times, and the Arctic cold last night has made the track completely different from yesterday's, even final training yesterday.
Well, not for this guy.
Well, it's impressive because Sun Bin Young didn't even train yesterday, but he's come out and laid the trail down for everybody else. Beat Alexander Tretyakov into 2nd place. Matt Antoine of the USA lies in 3rd, ahead of Christopher Groth here of Germany, and then the Ducours brothers. And Yun has got things to tidy up, but then so has everyone else.
Well, Mr. Ducours had the most exciting run of the day.
Yeah,
look at there.
That'll go on the reel, won't it?
Upside down. We're going to be looking at those pictures for a while. Upside down through the finish curve. He's in 6th. He's won 5 straight years out here, right? 5 straight events he's won out here. And he goes through the finish line upside down. Wow.
He has not been off the podium since those rainy World Championships in 2009 in Lake Placid, when that was one of the freakiest World Championship results ever seen, I think. But there is your finishing order after the first of our 2 heats. We get down to 19th and 20th places. Kyle Trester, USA, and Hiro Takahashi will be in the race. From Matthias Guggenberger on down, they will be wrapping up warm and actually probably not watching trackside, probably sitting inside the changing room, feeling cold and a bit disappointed with themselves. So that's it. First of our 2 heats is done. Sterling work by our camera crew as ever. Guys, get inside, get warm. We will be back again in around 30 minutes for our second heat, which comes up with the first sled on ice at 10:15 local. That is 4:15 Greenwich Mean Time.